Hey friends, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. Come join me, your host Nicole, for some hope-filled conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing. Hey Hallmarkies and Sleuthers, welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast. I'm your host Nicole, joined once again today by my friend Alex to talk about Curious Caterer grilling season. It was written by John Christian Plummer and directed by Paul Zeller. Caterer Goldie Berry reunites with Detective Tom Schultz when a realtor is murdered. As they uncover personal and professional rivalries, they realize the culprit is closer than expected. Dun, dun, dun. This was a great movie. What did you think of grilling season, Alex?
I love this one. I honestly, personally liked this second movie better than the first movie because I feel like the first movie, it was hard for me to get into the whole storyline because it was the first one. We were just getting introduced to the characters and who everybody was. And this one, I felt like that started getting more involved into the characters' lives and like personal aspects and all that stuff. But no, I definitely enjoyed this one. It was good.
I did too. I love the first one, but I think the second one was
topped it.
better. Yeah, it definitely topped it. So why don't we start with the suspects and clues to the victim's murder? Dun, dun, dun.
Sounds good.
Which is, of course, we know Susie, who is Goldie and Marla's friend.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit later on, we hear that the grill exploded and she was found dead.
Yes.
Unfortunately. The 911 operator was alerted at 10:12 p.m. By the alarm company. Her smoke alarms were going off and she wasn't responsive to her phone. Fire crews and EMTs were there by 10:20. The fire inspector says it's a blocked regulator on the grill. And Goldie was like, no. That's impossible because it's a new grill. And Goldie then said the danger with a propane grill is a blockage where the gas meets the ignition. That whole scene.
Right.
Oh, man. That was tough.
Yeah. Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. When Goldie finds out when Tom is at her house.
At her house. I know. And then she tells him, she goes, I was the last one to use that grill.
Yeah. Poor Goldie. Bella, the medical inspector, comes over to give an update for Tom. The time of Susie's death is consistent with the 911 call of the fire, 10 p.m. She needs to do a full autopsy because her initial exam shows she has a broken hyoid bone, which likely means she was strangled, which we already knew. Oh, I can't even imagine.
Oh, I know. When they do
Horrible.
any of these like strangling type of scenes in these movies, I'm like pass.
Literally, I was almost holding my own.
Right? I know you feel it when they're doing it.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible. But first suspect, Richard. What did you think about this? Because I was like, no way.
No, I had a feeling it wasn't him. I'm like, there's no way they're gonna pin this
on Olive's dad.
Goldie's ex-husband. I'm like, no. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, it's further along. I had a feeling that he was going to get framed.
Yeah,
and I'm like, they can't. When I watch these mysteries too, Nicole, like, I'm always the last person to find out who did it. But I'm always the last person. I can never figure it out. Maybe like on my hand, maybe like once or twice I could figure it out.
Yeah.
But I always tell myself when it comes to these type of shows, it's always the least likely person you would think of. That's what you have to put in your mind. Not the most obvious, the least likely person you can think of, and that's usually
Yeah.
the person who did it. So I knew right away. I'm like, no, it's not going to be Richard.
I
You're
will
just playing
say
on him.
the most recent Curious Caterer that just came out, I was way off.
You were, oh, I was too until the end. Until the end. The end, I started picking up on it a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, did I actually get this?
I thought for sure it was going to be one particular person. I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah.
A guy.
I'm
I'll
actually
just say
surprised
that.
I got it.
One
I'm
of the
actually
guy
surprised I
characters.
picked up on
Yeah.
it.
Oh my goodness. But anyway, back to grilling season.
Mm-hmm.
He first seems suspicious because he won't answer Goldie's calls
Mm-hmm.
and has retreated to his cabin.
Yes.
The last time he saw Susie was at the party and they had the big argument.
Mm-hmm.
After he left the party, he went to Dr. Lockwood's, and we will talk about Dennis later,
Yes.
and stayed long enough to drink a cup of coffee, which was around an hour, and then he came straight
Mm-hmm.
to the cabin. He doesn't have an alibi because he was alone, so no one can verify the story, and he turned off his phone. I mean, that sounds
Not a
suspicious
good look.
there. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that does sound suspicious, but I was like, no,
Mm-hmm.
Richard didn't do it. Yeah. This comes up later with another suspect, but when Goldie and Richard are at Olive's softball practice, he tells her that Lynn Gorch was Dennis's patient. He tried to defect him a few months ago. He has picked up a few of Dennis's patients because it gives Dennis more time to spend at his villa in Italy, doing who knows what.
What? No, that's a no.
Oh, yeah. Some suspicious behavior that we will talk about. Susie was strangled with a ligature cord that cut into the papillary dermis, which is the superficial layer of the skin. Bella believes that it was a fluorocarbon fishing line. The forensics came back with the material that clogged the grill, which was mostly latex, and they were also able to isolate the other material, which is fluorocarbon, and it is a match for the green fishing line with one set of prints belonging to who? Richard. I was like, oh no.
I was like, of course. Of course.
I think I knew right there he was being framed.
Oh, no, me too. Second they said that, I was like, someone's doing something. It's not him.
Yeah. No, not him. And later on, towards the end of the movie, he is being blamed for Fran's murder, but he has an alibi for that.
Yes.
Since he was with Goldie at Olive's practice, which started at 8. He was 20 minutes late, but Tom is kind of still pushing it, even though he doesn't want to. He tells her that Fran's estimated time of death was 6 p.m. So
the
timing of that, I can see where Tom would think that.
Because there's too much time in between.
Yeah. But come on, Tom. Really? I felt so bad.
I know. I'm
like,
a little bit of respect here, Tom. I'm like, no offense to his character, but
I felt so bad for Goldie, especially when she hit her hand on the steering wheel. She's like,
yeah. But
and then,
deep down inside, Tom didn't want it to be him either.
Yeah. He even said that, do you think I want it to be
him?
Richard? Yeah. And speaking of Fran, why don't we just talk about her? She's a little sus.
Yeah,
at
she's a
some
little
points
like
in the movie.
wishy-washy in this episode. I feel like she was like hot and cold the entire episode.
Yeah, although Beverly Elliott is great. She played that role very well.
Yeah, she did. I remember her in a couple of other movies. I just don't know which one.
Yeah, she was actually in Nikki's Christmas movie from last year.
Oh, right. That's
The
what I
Gift of
remember her from.
Peace. Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like, her face looked familiar. I just couldn't
Yeah.
name the movie.
Yeah. She was the last person with Susie, and she
Hmm.
hasn't called Tom back.
Right.
And I love in the scene when Goldie and Marla are at their murder board,
The murder board.
and Marla's like, which is exactly what a guilty person would do.
I love Marla and Goldie. They're like, I love them. They're so funny.
Yeah. And then Goldie's like, or a busy person.
Person.
That would be me. I would be the one that'd be like, no, she didn't do it.
Yeah, that would be me too.
Trying to see the best in people.
Exactly.
Before she moved to Elk Park, she was a police officer in Pittsburgh and retired after 19 years. Mason made a call to his cousin who's on the job with the Allegheny County Sheriff. She was under investigation in a bribery scandal until she retired and moved to Elk Park.
Yep.
Fishy.
Fishy, I know, very fishy. And then wasn't there that one scene with her where Andrew asks her
Yeah.
about something about, is it about a car?
Fran doesn't ask about a car, I don't think, but there is a scene when Tom and Mason go to meet with her.
That's the scene I'm talking about.
Yes. He's trying to get info, and
Right.
she's like, I'm protected by confidentiality law, blah, 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 blah. Her defensive attitude was very suspicious.
Pretty suspicious.
She's like, well, you're going to need to get a court order.
Court order. And
oh my gosh. Mason going to see her in the clothing store.
Mason's like one of the best characters in this entire show. I can't with him. He makes it so fun. Every single line he has, I'm always laughing. He always shows up in the most awkward situations. I'm like, oh look, there's Mason.
Talk with the lady that works at the store. You know, he's peering through one of the clothes racks, and she's like, can I help you? And he's like, no, I'm tracking a suspect who went into your fitting rooms, and obviously I can't go in there. And then, of course, you know, he sees that she's run away, and he's like, oh, no, 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 no. Oh, my gosh. And I think before that, it's the banter back and forth between Tom and Goldie when they're talking about Fran going to the store, and Goldie was like, oh, she wouldn't be caught in there. And Tom's like, why? Goldie's like, wait till you see. Wait till you get there. Oh my gosh. Skipping ahead a little bit, Marla is trying to reach her. And she is not answering at the office or on her cell phone. And then we find out that she was found dead at, of course, Hal's cabin.
Yep.
And based on how long she was in the water, she was killed Monday.
Right.
After Mason lost her at Posh, and the night before, Tom arrested Richard.
Yep.
So she's not a suspect.
Nope.
She's out the window. But that's good. I'm glad that she actually wasn't the one that killed Susie.
That did it. Yeah, me too. I had a feeling it wasn't her either, because they were too close as friends. I'm like, why would someone that's so close to her as a friend do that unless there's like another issue going on between them that nobody knows about?
Yeah. I would venture to say that Fran's defensiveness was maybe in part to try and protect the whole thing that Susie found out. Kind of like not give anything away. Kind of keep her cards close to her chest, if that makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah. No, I totally get it.
Yeah. Why don't we just get into this trio of suspects, Hal, Chester, and
And
Jessamine. And may I just say first, how in the world did Tom end up with someone like Jessamine?
that's what I was just about to say that. I'm like, I was sitting there like trying to figure it out, Nicole. I'm like,
What?
why
Why?
why are they together? Not in a mean way, not in a
No,
mean way. I just
no,
feel like they're
no.
too opposite of each other. You know what I'm saying? Like
Way too opposite.
they're too opposite. I'm like, they don't fit.
No, they do not at all.
No. I was like very surprised with them being a couple. They were married, right?
Yes, they were
Yeah, they
married.
were
Yeah.
married. And I'm like, in the
How?
how? Exactly. That's what I'm like.
How? Oh my gosh. But anyway, Hal told Mason his girlfriend Becca had him over for dinner last night, but that can't be verified because according to Becca's voicemail, she's on a flight to Australia.
Because that doesn't look suspicious.
Yeah. Chester and Susie ran the real estate firm together, and we find that out when Goldie and Marla are working on their board. And Marla's like, maybe he wanted to run it alone. And, that would be good motive. I could
Right.
understand and see that reasoning there.
Yeah, the money aspect, perhaps.
And Chester told Mason he was at home watching TV alone. So his story can't be verified. Wonder what he was watching. Wonder if it was a mystery movie.
Or it might have been just like sports or something boring. You never know.
Probably. Yeah. Probably a football game or
Baseball.
baseball. Yeah. Hallmarkies, what do you think Chester would have been watching at home alone on TV? Let us know. We would love your theories. Hal is also Susie's ex-husband. Marla says, well, if he couldn't have her, then no one could. That's a good motive too. I could see.
Yep.
That's been motive in some mystery movies.
Yep. It's been a pattern there.
Yeah. Regarding Jessamine, Goldie doesn't believe she just happened to be in Denver on business. Goldie, she was clearly here to see Susie, Marla, or Tom. According to Tom, she was evasive. I wonder why. Oh my gosh. She does seem kind of like an evasive person, character-wise.
Character-wise, no, she definitely does.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Very out there. I'll just say that.
I was gonna say very forward.
Yes, very forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
We hear this in one of the next scenes, but I'll just go ahead and mention it now. Goldie caught Hal and Jessamine talking outside his office, and Hal's office is empty. And then Marla caught Chester meeting with Jessamine and overheard their conversation through the vent in the kitchen. Very clever, might I add. And Jessamine says, need I remind you that there's a lot at stake?
Yeah, that was definitely a suspicious conversation that took place in that scene.
Yeah. She works for a real estate firm in San Francisco, and she promised her bosses that she could make a deal to buy Whitetail Realty, which is Chester's firm. Chester was not surprised by it and sounded like he was in on the idea.
Yeah, he was on board with it.
Yeah. And they're just waiting for the will to be read. And I just mentioned it, but she met with Hal because he wanted to merge his firm with Whitetail as well. And Jessamine has been at her firm for 9 months, still has not made a sale.
That kind of raises a red flag, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, if I were looking for a home, it wouldn't be with Jessamine. I would
definitely not.
probably pick Chester out of the 3.
Safest bet.
Yeah. Hal laid off his staff but hasn't filed for bankruptcy yet. Red flag. And Hal also gets Susie's house and her share of Whitetail Realty. He's selling to Jessamine, and Chester knew. Another red flag.
A lot of red flags happening.
Yes, but none of them are the culprit, which I'm glad. So 4 down, 2 to go.
There we go.
Kitty, what did you think about this character? And we can talk a little bit more in a minute.
I personally didn't think it was him.
Yeah.
At first, yeah, you think that because he's on the phone and like the phone call sounds like distraught. Yep. So they make you believe right away it was him.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was him because they were making it way too obvious.
Yeah.
When they pin it on somebody and they make it way too obvious, it's usually not that person.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought.
Yeah. He did have a motive because Susie suing him and her death saved him a whole lot of money.
Yep.
The night of the murder, he was at Elk Park Fitness Center. The manager of the fitness center confirmed he was there. And this is later on, but she saw him working out the entire time, except for the 30 minutes he was in the locker room, which would give him plenty of time to kill Susie because, according to Richard, there is a jogging trail that runs from the fitness center and it goes past the back of Susie's house. And that is about 5 minutes away. So, yeah. Very suspicious there. We can talk about the comedic part of the scene in just a little bit, but Goldie and Marla do sleuthing of their own. By going to Kenny's house, Marla distracts Kenny, and Goldie finds a letter in one of his drawers in his office.
Yeah.
From Susie's attorney, Preston Pittman, about the lawsuit that was filed, which says, "Please be advised that my client, Miss Craig, has recorded conversations in which you made threats on her life," which goes back to the phone conversation at the party. But it kind of comes to a dead end when Goldie meets with Preston, and he says that there were no recordings. The day Susie was killed, she confessed to him that she fabricated the threats to try and get out of the project together. So Kenny is innocent. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And that leaves one more
person.
The fantastic Dr. Dennis Lockwood. Psychopath.
Yep.
I'll just say that. Psychopath.
Psychopath. That's a good way to phrase it.
Dennis shows up to the crime scene soon after the incident, and he claims he didn't hear an explosion due to being across town at a wild goose chase house call. That reaction, I was like, you kind of seem not upset about your neighbor just getting killed.
I know, a little bit melancholy.
Yeah.
A little bit too calm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know right away, but from that very first scene, I was like, kind
Same.
of through the
Felt the
whole
same.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, it's probably him, but
Mm-hmm.
until they actually said it, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
until that last scene. I was leaning towards Kenny up until the end because
Mm-hmm.
of the distance between the fitness center and Susie's house, and
Mm-hmm.
then, the paper that
Mm-hmm.
Goldie found. But I'm glad that I was wrong.
Yeah.
So glad that I was wrong. Dennis complained to the neighborhood association about Susie.
Doesn't look right.
Mm-mm. You gotta love those complaints from neighbors. I remember we have gotten one. Now, I don't think that this person in our neighborhood actually did what she said she was going to do, but we live on the golf course, and I think it was for my 13th birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
We were down at the end of the hole where the green is,
Mm-hmm.
and this particular hole has hills to it, and we were
Mm-hmm.
like rolling down the hill, and I guess to her, this particular neighbor, we were
Mm-hmm.
making a lot of noise, and she was like, I'm gonna call the HOA or someone to
Yeah.
report noise. Like, honestly.
Like you rolling down a hill is creating noise.
We
Like
were like,
music is one thing. Rolling downhill. Last time I checked, rolling down hills doesn't make any noise.
no. Like we were, we weren't being that loud. We were just
Right.
having fun.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were running back to the house, here's the funny thing. I literally felt like we were in the Narnia movie. Like running away from the bad guy.
So funny.
Oh my gosh. But anyway, back to the movie. Dennis's bedroom window looks out over Susie's patio. The killer made sure Dr. Lockwood wasn't at home at the time of the murder
Mm-hmm.
when the wild goose chase phone call was happening. The call came in from a patient, Lynn Gorch, supposedly Lynn Gorch.
Mm-hmm.
When Dennis went to meet Lynn, he wasn't there. He was in Aspen for the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They ran a record, and the call was from a disposable cell phone.
Because
That
that's
right
not
there.
weird.
That's not weird at all.
Weird at all. Why don't you use your own phone?
Exactly. Yeah. Goldie finds documents from Fran linking back to Dennis and his
Mm-hmm.
villa in Italy.
Yes.
That scene, the first time I watched this, I literally jumped. I was like,
Oh, the
oh,
scene where she brings the files in the car and then he's in the car. Oh, I know. I jumped in that scene too.
I literally jumped. I'm not even joking.
Especially when things pop out of me, Nicole, if it's in like a show or like if I'm like in a haunted that's a no-no for me. I just doesn't work.
Oh my gosh. And going down a rabbit hole again, do you remember that commercial that was like all over YouTube a long time ago? I think I was in middle school, maybe elementary school. I don't remember. But it was a commercial that went viral, I guess. And
Mm-hmm.
it's of a car kind of driving around this bend with like a mountain or a hill. And then all of a sudden, this like monster face comes up and it's like,
Really? I don't remember that.
I'll have to send it to you
Send
because
it to me.
I'm not even joking. That scared the living daylights out of me the first time I watched it.
like I just said, Nicole, things that pop out of me, no fun. That's not fun for me. That's torture.
No, and what's funny, not funny, is I think the first time I saw it, it was at school. One of my friends and classmates had showed it to me, and we were in the library, and I literally shrieked, and the librarian had to tell me to be quiet. Luckily, I didn't get detention or anything, but. And back to the movie again. He drugs Goldie and then holds her hostage while shredding the papers and telling her about Fran's computer that he destroyed. Destroying evidence, that's a no-no.
No. Definitely not.
He wanted to force Susie to sell her house so that he could buy it because he treasures his privacy. That's crazy.
Great.
Sounds like something a psychopath would say.
That's would do.
I want the area all to myself. I don't want any disturbances.
Right.
From my dealings with the Italian mafia. Which, let's just get into that. Were you expecting that? Because I was not at all.
No. No way. I was like really surprised. I'm like, okay, that's a twist.
Oh my gosh. And he basically went after Susie because Susie had found out from Fran what he was doing at his villa in Italy, and that is performing illegal surgeries on Italian patients in said mafia.
Yep.
And he was doing this because basically money. Richard was stealing his patients, and the only way to keep him afloat financially was doing these surgeries. It
like
always,
he wasn't gonna get caught eventually for doing that. Like
it always comes
sense.
down to money.
Oh, I was just about to say that. It's always involved with money.
Always money.
Always.
Dennis made a call on the disposable cell phone posing as Lynn, claiming that he was having an issue with his back. And then, of course, I guess a lady that works with Dennis called his phone. And then, Dennis was back to being himself. Okay, I'll be right there. Then he went to Susie's, killed her, then put the gloves in the fishing line in the grill, pretending to hide the evidence and the explosion.
Not good luck.
Nope. Fran was more than willing to keep quiet for more than $1 million. So he agreed to give it to her in a secluded spot and then drugged her with the same sedative that he gave Goldie and then shot her in cold blood.
Horrible.
Psychopath! This man! What is up with him? Psychopath!
I know. It's one way to name it.
I think that is one of the worst villains in a Hallmark mystery movie I've ever seen.
I think so too.
That one ranks at the top.
Yeah, one of the worst. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, but the guy that played Dennis did an incredible job.
It's hard to play a part like that, but it's fun.
I bet. Yeah, it probably
it's hard,
is fun.
but it's fun playing those villain type of parts.
Yeah,
in these type of movies.
Yeah. The last thing for Dennis was he was following Goldie and waiting for Richard to make bail so that he could blame him for her murder.
Yep.
Not cool.
He's like, let me just try to kill a third person while I'm at it. I'm on a roll here.
Not cool at all, Dennis. You're a bad dude who deserves to be in prison for the rest of your life. Oh my gosh. Oh, I missed one thing. The conversation with Richard outside the jail, I think.
The jail, yeah.
The fake friendliness, I was like, yeah, I'm not buying it.
In that movie.
I don't think Richard was
either. I was like, yeah, wow, what a turnaround that was. You're gonna
I don't think Richard was buying it either. He's like,
no, he wasn't. He was like standing there like he was like puzzled. He's like, why are you asking for a drink at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Isn't it a little bit early?
Yeah, he was like, it's a little early for wine. And then Dennis is like, a celebratory iced latte. He was like, sure, whatever. And then the real action comes in when Tom saves Goldie, and the two of them kind of sneak into the kitchen and find Dennis trying to drug Richard's coffee. And then they catch him, put him in handcuffs. Yeah. That scene, I was on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, that was a good scene. That was exciting, that scene.
Yeah. But the culprit has been arrested. Yay! I mean, I hate seeing anyone go to jail, but for something like that, yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Gotta go.
Definitely.
Yeah. Why don't we just go into some of the scenes that we enjoyed from this movie?
For me, I think one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie had to be when Goldie and Marla were making the murder board. In the house,
and then Tom finds them. And he knocks on
through the glass window.
Yeah, he's like
the glass door. I mean, not window, glass door. And he goes, and he goes to Goldie. He goes, you know, this is a murder investigation. This is not one of your menus.
Yeah, he's like,
and they were standing there like trying to hide the board, like he wasn't going to see it.
Yeah, and they're like.
That was definitely one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that was one of my top favorites too. I also love the opening scene when they're at the party and Goldie, Susie, and Marla are talking, and then Richard comes and he does all that awkward kissing, like that.
Yeah,
and then
Marla's like, you just kind of like.
Okay. Marla's like, okay, alrighty. And then later on, Tom, Goldie, and Marla are talking at the kitchen island.
Yeah.
And Goldie's trying to shoo Marla away. And Tom's like, you want to tell me what that was all about? Or do I have to play detective? Is it playing detective if you have that badge? You're dodging my question. And then the banter about the gift and Goldie guessing that it is a scented candle. And then the stress cleaning, talking about Jessamine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was... Probably me. Oh. Olive's matchmaking.
Oh.
When Tom comes over.
I know.
She's like, I'm gonna go take my food upstairs. Let y'all talk.
I'm gonna let you guys have a personal conversation. I'm out.
Yep. I thought it was sweet how Tom offered to go to her practice.
Yeah.
I love Olive.
Yeah, I know, me too. I love the girl that plays her.
Yeah, I think that her and Andrew have a great dynamic together.
Yeah.
Maybe someday he will be her stepdad.
Maybe.
Thinking ahead. That would be awesome to see.
No, it would be.
Yeah. Also in that scene, I thought it was hilarious when Goldie and Olive are talking about Richard, and Olive's like, "Oh, he's at his cabin," and Goldie was like, "How'd you know that?"
Know
"Oh,
that?
I used to find my phone."
I used to find my phone. Thank God those are around.
I know, we actually have one.
Same.
I think one of my favorite things about this movie was the support that Goldie gave to Richard the entire time.
I agree. That was like one of my favorite parts of the whole movie
Yeah,
too.
and her defense of him. Even
Him.
to Tom, I was like, wow.
I
That
know.
scene when they had the argument in his office, I kind of hurt my
Yeah.
heart a
Oh
little
yeah.
bit.
Mm-hmm.
After he was brought
Right.
in
Right.
handcuffs. Yeah.
Oh right. That's the. Oh yeah. That's the.
Yeah.
Oh, that scene. I know.
But they played that
Really good.
brilliantly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
brilliantly.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the scene there. I'm like, oh, the scene after he just arrests him and she's
Yeah.
like in the office and she sees it. Now I remember.
Yeah. Of course, I love all the comedic moments with Mason.
He's my favorite.
Yeah. I didn't write this one down, but I remember it when we were talking about Fran.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in the scene when Mason is telling Tom what he found out about Fran and her
Right.
retiring and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
then Tom, kind of pats him on the back a little. He's like, "Good job, Mason." And then Tom walks away and he's like, "Good job, Mason. Good job." The next one was Tom seeing Mason's board. It's
with,
very creatively done.
with the string.
Oh yeah, you
Like
like
the red
that?
string,
Marla helped me, and then
the
Tom's just
ribbon.
like,
Marla. He's like trying thinking to himself, Tom, he's like, what is this woman doing in my office uncalled for? And just like walking right.
another funny line. Mason to one of the other officers that were on duty. He's like, in high school, I was actually voted most likely to be detective. No way.
I know they give him such funny lines in the show, and he executes them so well too. I love it. Even like
Riley.
the line in the next movie, in the third
Oh,
one,
yeah, yeah.
in the hotel room.
Yeah.
You know,
Riley is great. I love
no,
him.
he's really funny.
Yeah. Another one. Mason, where are you going? Tom, following a lead. Mason, flying solo.
Well,
I'm like, okay, Mason. Oh my gosh. Oh, this scene. Tom catching Goldie from falling off the dumpster.
oh,
I could feel the sparks.
I know that was actually one of my other favorite scenes in the show too.
Yeah.
I love that one. Oh yeah, the
Yes.
chemistry is like I said, I par them with Brendan and Lacey and Joe
Yeah.
and for chemistry wise because their chemistry is like
Yeah.
always the same and it's always at like 100%. But no,
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. Another one, Mason talking to himself while watching for Fran, and he's like, Detective Kildea, Detective Kildea, Detective Detective Kildea, freeze, Detective Kildea. That line had me cracking up. Oh, he delivers so
I know
perfectly.
he does. Yep.
Marla distracting Kenny with a flat tire while Goldie looks for evidence.
That was another good one.
And the mention of having to go to choir practice, she's like, "Oh, I just forgot. I have to go to choir practice." And Kenny's like, "You sing in the choir?" "Yeah, I would miss it, but I'm solo this week, so." And then Kenny starts to go in the house, and she's
The
like,
house and she like
"Amazing Grace." How sweet the sound. And
That
he's
part was
just
hilarious.
standing there.
He's like mesmerized by her singing.
So moved. But I did kind of feel bad for Kenny because Marla had said that the last time he heard that song, it was for his grandmother.
Right.
Who had died.
Mm-hmm.
Which was why he was moved to tears.
Mm-hmm.
Goldie bringing Tom the cinnamon rolls as an apology. Love cinnamon rolls.
No, oh my God, me too.
And we already mentioned this, but Tom saving Goldie. And then hearing Olive is going to the finals for her softball tournament. Mm-hmm. And then the little moment at the end when Goldie rests her head on Tom's shoulder.
Tom, I know.
That was really sweet.
Yeah.
And I think that is the end of the movie. What would you rate this one out of 10?
I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I think I'll give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Magnifying glasses for the mystery element. Yeah. All around, great movie.
Yeah. But like I said, I loved it a lot better personally than the first one.
Yeah.
I thought it was much better. But not saying the first one wasn't good. I just liked it.
Yeah. Yes. Well done to the entire cast, crew. Yep. John Christian Plummer, Paul Zeller. Fantastic job. Hopefully we will have many more of these.
I know.
Show movies.
I think so. Yeah. I think Hallmark knows they're like a good pairing and they'll continue the movies.
Yeah. Apparently, I think when I had Andrew and Nikki on the podcast last year before the first one, they mentioned that there were 17 books in the series or something. Oh,
wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. I could be a little off on the number, but somewhere around there.
That's
16, 17, yeah. Hopefully we'll get that many.
Oh, 17 movies? Oh, yeah. That's like getting up to like Aurora Tea Garden. That's that's a lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I think that they will. I'm optimistic.
No, me too.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because like I said, this is like one of my favorite of like the newer
mystery
movies. It's one of my favorites up there with like Bunsen and
Haley Dean.
Yeah.
Same. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you, Alex, for joining. It's always a great time having you on.
No, thanks for bringing me on again. It was definitely fun.
Of course. And I will definitely have you back during the Christmas movie season.
Yes.
To talk about some of these movies.
Sounds good.
Which are starting this week. That's so crazy.
I know. So I feel like we were just here last year. And then
I know.
The whole year goes like so quick.
Yeah, it does.
I'm excited for them.
Yes, me too. All right, Hallmarkies and Sleuthers. I think that wraps up our review of Curious Caterer grilling season. If you enjoyed this episode, you can like this video and share your favorite scenes in the comments. If you want to stay up to date on all of my episodes, you can subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world. And I will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.